God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Let not my mind deny the thought of God. Let not my mind deny the thought of God. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. I am entrusted with the gifts of God. I am entrusted with the gifts of God. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Well, thank you all so much for joining me in studying Lesson 178 in A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students. We're also reading through the text, and we are ready. Today is the review lesson 5, or review 5. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Let not my mind deny the thought of God. Let not my mind deny the thought of God, which was lesson 165. God is but love, and therefore so am I. And then lesson 166, I am entrusted with the gifts of God. I am entrusted with the gifts of God. And he tells us in that lesson that since we've been entrusted with this gift of knowing how to find our true self, our happiness, that we're to share that with others. And if our happiness is not complete, nor is we can't spread it. Okay, well, let's just take a look at it briefly. And I am as God created me. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Excuse me. I just slipped out. I am as God created me. Lesson 165, let not my mind deny the thought of God. Let's just bring a little bit of highlights to review. I'm just going to kind of read down through here in that first paragraph under let not my mind deny the thought of God. What could keep from you what you already have, except your choice to see it not? Denying it is there. Let's not deny our thoughts of God. In paragraph 3, who would deny his safety and his peace, his joy and his healing, and his peace of mind, his quiet rest, his calm awakening, if he but recognized where they abide? Would he not instantly prepare to go where they are found, abandoning all else as worthless in comparison with them? And having found them, would he not make sure they stay with him and he remains with them? Deny not heaven. It is yours today, but for the asking. Ask with desire. You need not be sure that your request, you need not even be sure that your request is the only thing you want. But when you have received it, you will be sure you have the treasure you've always sought. And one more sentence or two out of the last paragraph. This course removes all doubt which you have interposed between God and your certainty of God. We count on God and not upon ourselves to give us certainty. Isn't that a nice idea? You don't have to be certain in yourself. Just ask for help from the certain hand. And that's to be thought about. Let not my mind deny the thought of God, sandwiched into the idea, God is but love, and therefore so am I. Along with lesson 166, I am entrusted with the gifts of God. He gives without exception, holding nothing back that can contribute to your happiness. That should be a happy thought. He gives without exception, holding nothing back that can contribute to your happiness. Just ask for it with desire. I am entrusted with the gifts of God. This world is not the will of God, and so it is not real. Yet those who think it real must still believe there is another will. Yet those who think it is real must still believe there is another will, and one that leads to opposite effects from those God wills. Impossible indeed. But every mind that looks upon the world and judges it as certain, solid, trustworthy, and true, believes in two creators, or in one, himself alone, but never in one God. In paragraph 9, he says, Christ's hand has touched your shoulder, and you feel that you are not alone. You even think the miserable self you thought was you may not be your identity. We're starting to wake up, aren't we? Down in paragraph 11 and a little bit out of 12, he says, one walks with you who gently answers all your fears, and with this one merciful reply. One walks with you who gently answers all your fears with this one merciful reply. It is not so. All your fears, they are not so. What you thought was causing them, the threat, it is not so. He points to all the gifts you have each time the thought of poverty oppresses you, and speaks of his companionship when you perceive yourself as lonely and afraid. What he has come to offer you, you now must learn to give. Remember, that's how we receive it, is by being sure we give it. Teach them by showing them the happiness that comes to those who feel the touch of Christ and recognize God's gifts. Let sorrow not tempt you to be unfaithful to your trust. Let not sorrow tempt you to be unfaithful to your trust of giving happiness to everyone. And I'm going to read the last two paragraphs in their entirety. Your sighs will now betray the hopes of those who look to you for their release. Your tears are theirs. If you are sick, you but withhold their healing. What you fear but teaches them their fears are justified. Your hand becomes the giver of Christ's touch. Your change of mind becomes the proof that who accepts God's gifts can never suffer anything. You are entrusted with the world's release from pain. Betray it not. Become the living proof of what Christ's touch can offer everyone. Become the living proof of what Christ's touch can offer everyone. God has entrusted all his gifts to you. He witnesses to your happiness, to how transformed the mind becomes which chooses to accept his gifts and feel the touch of Christ. Such is your mission now, for God entrusts the giving of his gifts to all who have received them. He has shared his joy with you, and now you go to share it with the world. We are entrusted with the gifts of God. We've been shown how to forgive, and now we demonstrate it. And our cup runneth over with joy because of learning that one beautiful lesson. What is forgiveness? Forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. Okay, so today, God is but love, and therefore so am I. Let not my mind deny the thought of God. God is but love, and therefore so am I. I am entrusted with the gifts of God. God is but love, and therefore so am I. And in our text reading, we left off in the middle of section 9, the purpose of the body, in chapter 18, the dream and the reality. And let's pick up in I think we left off in paragraph 79, but let's start in paragraph 78, which starts off, love knows no bodies and reaches to everything created like itself. Its total lack of limit is its meaning. And while you're turning there, if you'd like to follow along, which I would encourage you to do so, really, just get your eye on the book and read. And you don't have to, but my encouragement. If you're trying to make fast progress, it helps me to get my ear to hear someone reading it, and my words looking at, or my eyes looking at the words. Okay, what on earth is going on today? Oh, before I do anything, let me just show you this beautiful little flower I just picked. I tried to look it up what the genus and species is. It's a passion flower, and I wasn't able to find it because I don't have any cell phone signal out here. But I just thought they're almost like otherworldly, like some kind of alien flower. And this one, they don't last long once you pick them. So I just wanted to pick it and show you guys. I wonder if I could possibly break that thing off and put it in my ear so you guys could just look at it as I'm reading. I don't know if that's worth trying, but let's try it just for a moment. See if, that way you can kind of look at it. That's kind of crazy looking, but okay. What on earth is going on today? Decide to be married day. Honoring those who are engaged. Congratulations. Happy birthday to you day. Helen Keller Day. She was born on June 27th, 1880 and died in June of 1968. She was the blind and deaf educator. Industrial Workers of the World Day, National Bingo Day, National Columnists Day, National HIV Testing Day, National Ice Cream Cake Day, National Indian Pudding Day. And Indian pudding is a porridge using Indian meal, which is basically cornmeal. It used to be called Indian meal. National Orange Blossom Day. The white flowers of the orange. Did you know that 99% of orange blossoms don't even produce the fruit? Only 1% turns into the oranges. As many oranges that are on an orange tree, and yet only 1% of the flowers turn into fruit. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about oranges in just a minute. PTSD Awareness Day, Sunglasses Day, National Onion Day. We'll talk about onions in a minute. And it's Micro, Small, and Medium-Sized Enterprises Day. Okay, I said we were going to talk a little bit about orange blossoms. Let me tell you, look what I found here. Orange blossoms, it's a citrus species. Flowers of both, and citrus is the genus. The flowers of both the bitter and the sweet varieties of oranges have been used as a treatment for anxiety and insomnia due to their mildly sedating effects on the nervous system. An infusion, or a tea made by steeping, not by boiling, that'd be a decoction tea. An infusion tea made from the flowers is also recommended for mild stomach upset and as an aid to digestion. And you can thank utep.edu, which is University of Texas at El Paso, for that information. And on onions, we talked the other day about the long day and the short day onions. That's really important if you want the bulbs. If you're just looking for the greens, I hope that doesn't, a little bit silly there. But let's talk about the Walla Walla, which is a long day onion. But what I was trying to say is you want to pick for where, if you live south of Tulsa, anywhere in the southern part of the United States, or the short growing, those would be short day onions. Long day onions anywhere north of, an imaginary line across the United States. If you live in Europe, you'll have to figure out where I think it was the 36th parallel. Above that is your long day onions. South of that is your short day onion. And if you're listening in the southern hemisphere, it'll be 36 degrees south, and it's the same thing. Your sun side and your shades, or your long day side and your short day side of your onions. But Walla Walla, let's see. Let me see what I wanted to tell you about the Walla Walla onion. And it says in the Gurneys, this firm textured onion is a pantry staple. Harvest the sweet 4-inch golden skinned bulbs early for the mildest flavor. They're a yellow onion. Performs exceptionally well in the north They're a long day, and 115 days until they're ready to harvest. And that's out of your gurneys. Thank you, gurneys, for that information. You know, they've been around since 1866, right after the Civil War, huh? Okay, what else did I want to tell you today? Oh, another near-death experience. Her name is Deborah Christie Love. It's 11-minute and 38-second video on YouTube. The Other Side NDE. Woman dies and gets shown her past lives NDE. And mainly her message that she received and that she wants to share with everybody is don't fear death. Okay. Was there anything? I think that's everything I've got for you on. Let's go take a look at our text reading now. And we're, like I said, we're paragraph 78 in chapter 18 under the section, The Purpose of the Body. Love knows no bodies and reaches to everything created like itself. Its total lack of limit is its meaning. It is completely impartial in its giving, encompassing only to preserve and keep complete what it would give. In your tiny kingdom you have so little. Should it not then be there that you would call on love to enter? Look at the desert, dry and unproductive, scorched and joyless, which makes up your little kingdom, and realize the life and joy which love would bring to it, from where it comes and where it would return with you. And realize the life and joy which love would bring to it, your scorched landscape, and realize the life and joy which love would bring to your scorched barren land, from where it comes and where it would return with you. 79. The thought of God surrounds your little kingdom, waiting at the barrier you would. The thought of God surrounds your little kingdom, waiting at the barrier you built to come inside and shine upon the barren ground. See how life springs up everywhere? The desert becomes a garden, green and deep and quiet, offering rest to those who lost their way and wander in the dust. Give them a place of refuge, prepared by love for them where once a desert was, and everyone you welcome will bring love with him from heaven for you. Everyone you welcome will bring love with him from heaven for you. Isn't that a nice recognition and promise? Everyone you welcome will bring love with him from heaven for you. Everyone you welcome. Welcome everyone. They enter one by one into this holy place, but they will not depart as they had come alone. The love they brought with them will stay with them as it will stay with you. And under its beneficence, your little garden will expand and reach out to everyone who thirsts for living water, but has grown too weary to go on alone. Go out and find them, for they bring yourself with them. Remember, particularly today, I'm entrusted with the gifts of God. He says, go out and find them. Welcome into the kingdom of heaven. That should be our constant state of welcome our brothers and sisters, because they bring the blessing of heaven to us then. Let's see, where are we at? Go out and find them, for they bring yourself with them, and lead them gently to your quiet garden and receive their blessing there. So will it grow and stretch across the desert, leaving no lonely little kingdoms locked away from love and leaving you inside. So when you welcome your brother, it's like it brings rain to the desert and makes it grow again. It brings water to that parched ground in our own hearts. Okay, so will it grow and stretch across the desert, leaving no lonely little kingdoms locked away from love and leaving you inside. And you will recognize yourself and see your little garden gently transformed into the kingdom of heaven, with all the love of its Creator shining upon it. The holy instant is your invitation to love, to enter into your bleak and joyless kingdom, and to transform it into a garden of peace and welcome. Wow, a garden of peace and welcome. That's why I say thank you so much for joining me, because, you know, I get blessed when I know that someone's getting something wonderful from these ideas that I love so much. And I love the comparison he has of a garden. And you will recognize yourself and see your little garden gently transformed into the kingdom of heaven, and with all the love of its creator shining upon it. The holy instant is your invitation to love, to enter into your bleak and joyless kingdom, and to transform it into a garden of peace and welcome. 81. Love's answer is inevitable. It will come because you came without the body and interposed no barriers which would interfere with its glad coming. In the holy instant, you ask of love only what it offers everyone, neither less nor more. In the holy instant, you ask of love only what it offers everyone, neither less nor more. Asking for everything, you will receive it. Wow, not more or less, just ask for everything. And you will receive it, he says. And your shining self will lift the tiny aspect which you tried to hide from heaven straight into heaven. And your shining self will lift the tiny aspect which you tried to hide from heaven straight into heaven. That part of you that wasn't aware of your reality lifts you straight into heaven. No part of love calls on the whole in vain. You are part of love. God being love is therefore, or God being love, God is but love, and therefore so am I. God being love, you are too, is what he's saying. And he says love's answer is inevitable. It will come because you came without the... back up. Is that where I was at? Well, let's go ahead and read. That's 81. Love's answer is inevitable. It will come because you came without the body and interposed no barriers which would interfere with its glad coming. In the holy instant, you ask of love only what it offers everyone, neither less nor more. Asking for everything, you will receive it. And your shining self will lift the tiny aspect which you tried to hide from heaven straight into heaven. No part of love calls on the whole in vain. No part of love calls on the whole in vain. No son of God remains outside his fatherhood. 82. Be sure of this, love has entered your special relationship and entered fully at your weak request. You do not recognize that love has come because you have not yet let go of all the barriers you hold against each other. You do not recognize that love has come because you have not yet let go of all the barriers you hold against each other. That's why we want to welcome each other into our garden of peace. And you will not be able to give love welcome separately. You could no more know God alone than he knows you without your brothers. But together you could no more be unaware of love than love could know you not or fail to recognize itself in you. And the last paragraph, 83. You have reached the end of an ancient journey, not realizing yet that it is over. You are still worn and tired, and the desert's dust still seems to cloud your eyes and keep you sightless. Yet he whom you welcome has come to you and would welcome you. He has waited long to give you this. Receive it now of him, for he would have you know him. Only a little wall of dust still stands between you. Blow on it lightly, and with happy laughter it will fall away. And walk into the garden love has prepared for both of you. Wow, isn't that a beautiful, beautiful realization? Walk into the garden love has prepared for both of you. That's why we want to welcome everyone. That's how love comes to us, as we welcome our brothers. Extend love to them, and they bring the kingdom of heaven and love to us. Okay, well, let's do that. Two longer periods of practice today, and then your hourly remembrance and asking for help. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Let not my mind deny the thought of God. Let not my mind deny the thought of God. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. I am entrusted with the gifts of God. I am entrusted with the gifts of God. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Let not my mind deny the thought of God. Let not my mind deny the thought of God. I am entrusted with the gifts of God. I am entrusted with the gifts of God. God is but love, and therefore so am I. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Thanks again so much for joining me on this sacred journey of awakening, welcoming our neighbors and loving them as we love ourselves. Let them welcome you home as you welcome them home. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Let not my mind deny the thought of God. God is but love, and therefore so am I. I am entrusted with the gifts of God. God is but love, and therefore so am I.